everybody, I'm David with Bolivar Live, and it's Friday once again. We're here with Chandra, and we're going to talk today a couple things. We're going to talk TWIA and a meeting coming up, but we're also going to talk about a little over a week ago, Hurricane Francine gave us a close call. We dodged the bullet, and our friends in Louisiana are playing hell. Y'all have an office over there, don't you?
We actually had an office in Beaumont, but we closed it down because nobody was coming in there. So everybody's doing everything digitally now. So we handle everything out of our main office now, but we still have employees over there, and they meet with clients over there. We have inspections over there. Yeah.
Well, I know the insurance people are going to be busy over there between flood and wind, and everyone's going to be fighting on what was it, flood, was it rising water, was it wind-driven rain, and we've been through that over here. So even with Burrell, we had some of that. So real quick, let's touch on the TWIA meeting.
Yeah, so there's going to be that TDI meeting to discuss the 10% proposed rate increase, and that is going to be on Monday, the 23rd at Moody Gardens, and it's open to the public. They are going to be taking public comment from citizens who want to make a comment related to that proposed 10% increase. And like I said, I think I said in a prior show, I'm really excited that the commissioner's done this. I've been on TWIA 9 years. I've never heard of her or any prior commissioners having this kind of public outreach before they make a decision on implementing a rate increase. So the fact that they're getting that kind of public input is really exciting and could be really good for the community. It also helps us gauge the temperature of what they're wanting to do, and hopefully maybe can bring some of our legislators to the forefront so that we can make some movement legislatively in this next session that's coming up starting in January. I mean, it starts in January, but all the work is already starting to get ready for session that starts in January. So there's already staffers working on, crafting bills and getting support, and it'll really ramp up after the election for the few people that may change seats and stuff. But, people that are in their term are going to stay in their term. I mean, they're already working. So, anyway, so it's definitely something that we're excited about to see that the commissioner is going to be taking that public input, and I'll definitely be there making a public comment as well. So if you can't be there, there is a way to do written comment. They're going to be providing all the written comment to the commissioner as well. So if you can't be there in person, at least do a written comment and get that out not only to the commissioner, but also your local representation.
Great. Now, we had a close call last week.
Yeah. My stomach was hurting.
Maybe a little, at one point, I believe it was on Monday or Tuesday, when they finally established where the eye was of Francine, it was actually about 35 miles to the west, which I've always said, man, a hurricane always goes to the east. But with that 35 miles jump where they thought the eye was and where it was, it put us a little too close for comfort. Now,
definitely,
we got lucky and some dry air was brought into it. And so I don't think it developed. If it would have developed down there like it did the last 20 hours, we would have been in trouble, It would have been
a lot bigger and a lot more widespread.
Right. We got very little rain from it. We had some splash on Highway 87. It never got submerged. The ferry never shut down.
Yeah.
But everyone here was sort of jumpy because of what Burrell ended up. But let's talk about your strong home protection program, because that's something that, especially let's take Burrell, for instance. Someone came in and they called you, and this is a yearly inspection.
Yeah, what we're recommending is this to be like a yearly inspection program. A lot of people that don't live in Bolivar full time, or even if you do, like, are you going to get on top of a 30-foot high roof? Probably not.
Right.
So, what we do is we go out and just we have different levels of how in depth you really want us to go. But the basic program is kind of checking everything on the outside for you, making sure that everything is in good condition. But what it does, besides just give you peace of mind, it also gives you a baseline for things that could be maintenance issues, or if there is a storm, what condition things are in, so that you have a basis for filing an insurance claim. We also give you a priority for going out and assessing any damages that you may have, and making sure that you have, there's no life safety issues, which is always the first thing we look for, is your deck rails or stairways, everything safe for you to access the property. So we look for life safety stuff first. And then after life safety, we look at, okay, do you have any broken leaky windows, any, roof lifting or issues with that? So we look at everything, and we give you a stamped report, and we drone the roof. We want to make sure that, we get a good eye on everything, so that you have a baseline. And then we give you any recommendations for maintenance. So like I said, if you're not living there full time and we see, hey, you're going to need to do a little bit of maintenance on this little bit of siding, this window, these
Right.
bolts in your piling, you've got a little bit of sagging in this deck board, whatever the case may be, it's just going to prevent liability for anyone that may be renting, number one, or just, comfort and safety for your home, number two. But then if there is a storm like Beryl or like Francine that comes through, we have a baseline, and we can say, hey, these are all the things, we've assessed this 6 months ago, and these are all the things that were fine with the house, and now you're saying it's not fine, and that doesn't change in 6 months. So
Right.
you have a baseline for being able to make those, fight those insurance adjusters to make sure that you get everything that you need done. And then if you want to upgrade it, like we can do plumbing and electrical, and look at your drainage, and we can do the little FLIR imaging to see if you've got any hot spots, cold spots, check your insulation, go up and look inside your attic. So the first one is just all exterior stuff, but the second one, it's a little more in depth. And then the premium is, we're going to look at even your appliances, or if you have irrigation or a pool or anything like that. So it's just even more upgraded. So usually the essential is a really good baseline, and it for maintenance especially.
Right.
But if you want us to look at, like, we actually had a young lady, she had bought a home about a little less than a year ago. She's coming up on her 1-year warranty inspection for her builder. And so she was like, hey, I'm having some issues with my, with some leaking, and I'm having some issues with my HVAC. And so we did the second package where we could go inside and look at all those things. And we found that her HVAC had some restrictions. We found that she had a gap in her gable end. We found that she had her ridge cap was loose and not attached properly. So all those things now they have to fix under her warranty before she is outside of that time period. So, it's just also, like I said, gives you ammunition to be able to hold those people accountable. You've got a third party who's an engineer who's telling you, hey, these are critical things that need to be taken care of, and, really help you as a homeowner. So I think that, it's a really good program. It's very non-invasive, on the essential, which is the exterior. You don't even have to be there. We can do everything from the outside. Right. If you want the essential plus, we would need access to the home. So we'd either need a code or we'd need somebody there to meet us. So we can definitely do either one. And we're in Bolivar every day.
So you said a stamped report. Is that an engineered stamped report?
Yes, okay. Yes, sir. We give y'all, we have our inspection template, and it shows all the things that we're looking at, and it shows photo documentation of, things that are good, but also things that are a problem. And so you get a good overall picture of what's going on in your home. And then we have a written report, a stamp that goes with that inspection report to back that up. So you have both. You have the inspection report with the photos, and then you have also the stamped engineering report.
So here's an example. I got my house, had y'all come out and do it in February or March. Said, hey, it's the new year. We're starting off. Let's see where our house is. And I want this done every March.
Right.
So that going into rental season or going into storm season, I know where I stand. So You came out and you gave me a report this last March, and the roof was in good shape. Everything from the report, a stamped engineered report, said it was good.
Right.
Well, then Burl came through, and I lost I had some shingles come up, maybe some broke, and the inspector or the insurance guy comes out and he says, well, that's just, where they were old. And I can say, no, Aaron and Franklin did this report in May or April and said that my roof was in good shape, that my windows were in top shape, and this. So you need to look at it a little bit harder, even though the deduction may not be worth it.
Right.
It gives you, do insurance companies look at those reports and listen to them?
They do, because the other thing that if they don't take that into consideration, then they're going to have to start hiring experts to refute it. Okay. And it becomes, it's just a lot more expense and hassle, and it's just easier to pay the claim. So if they've had somebody that's a professional that has looked at it, usually we'll say that we feel like you have 5 years of life left in your roof, or 10 years or 15 or whatever the number is. But it depends on how old the roof is, if it has, any loss of granulation, if it's got good adhesion, if we don't have any areas that are pulling up or pulling away. So we can usually tell, what kind of life you have left in the roof, and if you have any problem areas on the roof. Now, if you had a little problem area and then you had damage there, okay, we're not going to be surprised, right? And our report will reflect that, and so will his. So we already knew that was an issue. But if you have other areas that are a problem, then you'll have a baseline for being able to say, hey, we looked at everything. There was no flashing issues. There was no leaking issues. There was no, shingles pulled up. Everything was adhered to the deck. And all of a sudden, this whole row of shingles is coming up and everything's pulled away and I'm getting leaking.
Right.
There's a baseline there for establishing damage claim.
If you take driver's ed and stuff, you get a discount. Have insurance companies started giving discounts because you're on a maintenance program and you do this yet? Or
I've not heard of any. I've not heard of any that do that. I know TWIA doesn't do that. The only thing that I know that they will give a discount for is do fortified. So say you do need a new roof and you want to put it back on, and you go through the steps to put it back to the fortified criteria, which, like I said before, we've had this talk before, it's not much different than what we're doing anyway for TDI. And the nice thing about it is we're going to re-nail your roof deck. We're going to make sure you have ring shank nails on that. We're going to tape all your seams. We're going to put a wider drip edge, and it's the same shingle. So, no big deal.
And just so people know, on the fortification, it's a program where you build a house, and there's a substantial discount from insurance companies that if you do your house, but you don't have to do the whole house.
Right.
You can do just the roof. And to be honest with you, with the hardy plank siding and the windows we have now, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
The problem seems to be on the roof is where you get the water damage. And just to do the roof, you can still get a discount for that through your insurance company. And it's a seal. It's sort of like shrink wrapping it almost.
Right, exactly. So, there's two ways to go about it. There's one where you just tape all the seams up, because, where they put the plywood together, there's a little gap there. It's a wood product, and they have to have a little gap so it can shrink and swell as the temperature and climate changes yearly.
Right.
And so they have that little gap. Well, that little gap is causes water to come in there. So if your shingles go and your house paper goes, then you've got, these gaps where you got water penetrating through. So we want to keep one, those sealed, and two, we want to keep the roof deck itself on the rafters so that we have a closed building envelope. Those are the two critical things, because the biggest damage claims that they pay are for interior damages, loss of contents, and loss of use. And they don't want to pay those big bills, and you don't want them to kick you out of your house or lose your stuff. And it just helps communities come back faster if you don't have everybody displaced and outside of that local geographical region. So it's just a lot better to have a sealed roof deck. A lot of people are going to a sealed roof deck where they do that self-adhesive underlayment, and that's acceptable too. So you don't have to tape all the seams. You can just put that self-adhesive underlayment on. And a lot of them are doing it anyway. So why not get credit for it? I mean, let's make sure your roof deck's nailed correctly. We're going to put that self-adhesive underlayment down first. We're going to make sure that, your roof shingles are on correctly, and you've got a little bit wider drip edge, and you're good. I mean, it's really not a lot of extra. It's just the documentation of it and submitting it to IBHS so that you can get that fortified certificate designation so you can get the discount.
Great. Well, if you need more information on the home inspection, the Strong Home Inspection Program, you can go to their website at www.aaronfranklin.com. They've got an office in Texas City. They have people over here daily on Bolivar, Peninsula, Beaumont, Kemah, and really the whole coastal region. And so, they were instrumental when Bolivar rebuilt after Ike over here did probably the majority of the homes. And, Chandra's been on the TWIA board now for 9 years?
9 years.
9 years. And so we've been doing these shows, and I can tell you between now and the end of the year, we're going to be doing more on TWIA, depending on which direction this goes. So, Chandra, thanks for joining us today. Hope you have a great weekend, and hopefully we're not trying to get ready for another storm or starting to worry. Hopefully that was our last worry for the season. Or I hope so. So we're going to head on out. We'll be back next week with another show with Chandra and Aaron and Franklin. Until next time, I'm David with Bolivar Live. Y'all have a great day, great week. Come see us. God bless, and bye-bye.